Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another short little unboxing video to share with you guys. Something from Tactile Knife Co. Something made entirely in the United States. This is going to be an expensive one given that it is all USA, in-house, small batch, all of that, right? That all those elements equate to a pricier knife. But this knife was designed by Bob TERZUOLA, who is someone that I very much enjoy the designs of. Had to think about how I was saying that. But yeah, definitely somebody that you guys are probably familiar with. This was apparently designed in the 80s. Just took a quick look at their website. Today's video is just an unboxing, not a review, so we're just going to look it over, but I am excited to take a look at it. I think this is available. I'll link it in the description. You guys can check it out if you want to. So, what do we got here? I'm pretty sure that this is on the smaller side. Recommended for yachtsmen, riggers, packers, truckers, and anyone who requires a quality cutting tool. Okay, cool. Mariner or mariner, I don't know. How do you, what's the right way to say that? 2, so I imagine the 1 was the original design. MAGNACUT and titanium. I did look up to see what they were running their MAGNACUT at, and it is 63 to 64. To my knowledge, Tactile Knife Co. has never had an issue running MAGNACUT the way that we all prefer to see it, or that many of us do. So that, ooh, is that superconductor? I am not, that's right, you guys told me. You asked me what I would prefer, and I was shocked to hear that superconductor. Apparently, they'll have multiple different options for this thumb disc. Not everybody likes thumb discs. I used to be hyper critical of thumb discs, and I always point this out that some of the earliest knives that I handled that used thumb discs probably either one of two things or a combination of things. Either that it wasn't positioned exactly right, or I wasn't familiar enough with them to had worked out how I wanted to deploy them. Perhaps as time went on, the reason that I stopped being so critical is because I figured out how to use them correctly, right? It still very much depends on the positioning, the detent, all of that. But at the moment, I'm very much distracted by, I still have leftover, my daughter painted my fingernails, I still have leftover pink in there. But I'm very distracted by the fact that it is superconductor. I think that's so cool. So this titanium, I know you guys want me to get it out, but the titanium here looks to be, I guess, lightly tumbled. It's got a darker finish, but I want to point out that this is smooth. Not quite as rough as I expected. I thought that this was going to be kind of a rougher, almost acidy finish, and it's very smooth. We have a simple backspacer, little lanyard thing. Got a nice milled clip. Really wish you guys had put something there for left-handed people, but I don't know, maybe they'll make a left-handed version. Let's go ahead and open it up. That's exactly what I expected the blade to look like. So very straightforward. Again, this is a TERZUOLA design, and it very much appears TERZUOLA. I don't mind the size of this. What are we running on here? Is this? I'm pretty sure it's bearings. I don't mind the size of this. What I do appreciate for it being, I'm not going to say on the smallest, I'm going to say smaller than what I traditionally carry. What I like about, you know, it's the size that it is, but what I always look for is whether or not I can get a full grip on it if I want to. Even choked back to get the index finger in the primary position, I can still get everything on the knife. I don't mind that it's smooth. I always prefer a little bit of texturing, but that's okay, right? I feel like, you know, some people are going to love this and other people are going to criticize it for, you know, the price in relationship to how straightforward and basic it is. I guess it just depends on your preferences. But again, I'm trying to remember that this is still a small batch, fully in-house USA-made product, which even for a lot of companies who do make their knives in the USA, is not the case, which is why so many of them can be less expensive. We are looking at MAGNACUT, we're looking at titanium, right? We're looking at properly heat-treated MAGNACUT, so the price tag's going to be higher. But whether or not I completely agree with that will depend on my experience with this thing while carrying it. We have a nested lock bar, which personally I appreciate versus it being an exposed titanium frame lock. I always like to see that. Now, is that titanium or is that steel? Not sure. Let's take a look. Oh, did it come with a little card? I'll let you guys look at this as well. So, MAGNACUT and assembled by Rusty on August 20th. There we go. Very cool. Let's go ahead and get that magnet out. Where is it? Right here. So the lock bar is steel, and it looks like on one side we have some internal milling, on the other side you have the nested lock bar. How did they attach that? Is there a screw under here? Boy, I don't see anything. Interesting. I wonder how they attached the lock bar. Looks to be pretty... Let's look at the... I want to look at the lockup percentage here. Oh, it's engaging well into it. Okay, it looks like a super early lockup. So the action is nice and smooth. Very, very glassy. Very easy to manipulate. Again, not everybody loves the thumb disc, but let me make a note here. Number one, the disc does not exceed the width of the scales, which is nice. We generally don't like to see... I don't like to see anything. Thumb studs, any deployment feature be thicker than the scales. The positioning of it is good, and also because of this scallop here, thank goodness that that's there. Because of that, it's very, very easy to engage with. The detent, definitely medium light, but that's what you'd want to be able to deploy it this way. I mean, it is beautifully easy to deploy, for sure. We have a super traditional sheep's footy style, almost like this knife really makes me think, it doesn't surprise me at all that it was designed in the 80s. I mean, we have about as classic of a knife profile as you can imagine. There are tons of knives out there that share a similar blade shape. I mean, literally like probably hundreds of thousands, right? Not maybe tens of thousands of designs have a similar shape. We see this a lot on traditional style knives. It reminds me of what we see often from Great Eastern Cutlery or any other companies that create more traditional knives or have in the past. And then we have just about the most classic handle profile that you could imagine. So not a lot in terms of designiness, but then again, you have to remember the design is based on something that Bob Terzuola created in the 80s. So it is intentionally supposed to be this way. It's not like they were like, let's create something no one's ever seen. Oops. No. But truthfully, there's nothing wrong with the size of this, right? This comes down, this section of the video, I'm going to talk about my own preferences, right? So you can agree or disagree with me. I immediately want the same thing, but longer. The overall length of this, like, it's just me. Even though, admittedly, it does fit my hand just fine. I also like that pocket clip, and it doesn't quite get to the halfway point. Here's another thing before I measure it. I do like that the screws are, number one, at least T8. That's a really nice touch. I like that they're flush. I also like that they are threaded into the other side of the titanium. Why? Because there are 3 show side screws, and then this is just like floating. The stop pin is just stuck in there, which is fine. That means you don't have to undo anything to disassemble it, like in terms of the stop pin. But you only have 3 screws for disassembly. So 1 less than what we typically see, which is 2 on each side, which would be 4, right? Math with metal complex. So you have 1 pivot screw and 3 body screws, and you're in, which is beautifully simple, and that's really, really nice. Let's go ahead and weigh it real quick, and then we'll measure it so you guys know. Weight on this cat, I'm going to guess it weighs about 3.5 ounces. Yup, 3.6 ounces. And then your measurements here, I'm going to guess that's about 7 1/4 with a 3 to 3 1/4 inch blade. Oh man, professional knife reviewer am I? Not quite 7 1/4. We're looking at just shy, 7.2 maybe. Blade length is 3 inches on the dot, 2.9 inches of cutting edge. But, you know, the nice thing about this is if you are looking for that true American-made experience, and I mean, like, it's likely that they probably do everything outside of maybe the bearings Maybe they even do the bearings in-house, right? That's expensive, and a lot of people really don't have a grasp on how expensive that is to do when you're talking about American manufacturing. Now, if that doesn't mean anything to you, the benefit of the current knife industry is that you have a metric quadrillion ton load of knives that cost less that you can go buy. It is a waste of energy to complain about things that are expensive when you have so many choices that are inexpensive, right? But if you truly want the fully in-house USA thing, like if that matters to you, you're gonna have to pay for it. There's just no way around it. You're gonna be spending hundreds of dollars to get these things. So they're going to appeal to some people and not to others, depending on the aesthetic of it. But for people looking for a straightforward, classic TERZUOLA design that's on the smaller side and made in the United States, it's a pretty good option considering the materials and especially the super utilitarian blade profile that is heat treated correctly. MAGNACUT's not a joke. That's definitely going to be one of the most preferred EDC steels out there. We are starting to see MAGNACUT like everywhere on everything. So I know that people are kind of, we're approaching the point where we're kind of feeling fatigued with it. Consider the lifespan of M390 and its reign of popularity. What was that? More than 10 years. I would expect MAGNACUT to be around for the long haul, but it is a great steel. So this is cool. I'm going to throw this thing in my pocket and use it and carry it, and I will be back here in a few weeks with a full comprehensive review. In the meantime, if you don't care to hear my extensive thoughts, that's fine. I'll link this down in the description. You guys can check it out. That's going to be it for today. Thanks so much for watching. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, I'm also on TikTok. I also have lots of... See, I ruined my outro. I got to start over. My brain doesn't work that. I don't remember. I can't start anywhere in the outro. I got to do the whole thing. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on the Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Is that how rappers do it? Do they, like, get into a flow and they don't even think, like, they just remember from saying the same thing? I don't know. I couldn't do it. Anyways, subscribe to Metal Complex for knife content. Have a great day.